Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, From Zero to Insight, Embed Reveal in a React app in 30 minutes or less. I really don't think this is going to take 30 minutes. It's probably going to take like 15 or maybe 20 because there really is no code to do this. We're going to do a low code approach. And then we're lucky today we have a special guest, Brian Lagunas, is going to walk us through using the Reveal React wrappers. So many of you have tried these already, maybe the Angular wrappers or the React wrappers. We published these about 18 months, maybe 2 years ago, but very exciting on the future of where we're headed with the component. So today, Reveal, of course, is a JavaScript library. You may want to use it a little bit differently based on your app platform. So, of course, my name is Jason Beres. I'm a Senior VP here at Infragistics. My email's jasonb. Brian is B. Lagunas. Feel free to shoot us an email if you have any questions after the webinar. So today's agenda is mostly code. I have a couple slides or maybe one slide. We're going to show you how to use App Builder to build out an app using Reveal and React. And then we're going to show you how to do it step by step. Brian's going to walk us through that. We have a poll, and then we're just going to wrap this up. So let's get going. So what's the big deal with React? Nothing really, and that's the whole point. Like you can see here, this is a React code snippet from a React app, and it's just using the same Reveal API that you know and love. We have a load dashboard function, pass it a URL or a file name, and then that will load that dashboard. Remember, the Reveal view on a page is really just a div. So where am I going to load this dashboard into what div? And of course, it's responsive. So Reveal is unique in the respect that it's a pure embed play. The client JavaScript is embedded. There's no iframe story. And the server is completely embedded into your server application. The client works on every JavaScript platform. So Angular, React, Vue, Blazor, we don't care, plain old JavaScript. As you know, most of my demos that I do are just using plain old JavaScript because it's really easy to understand and use. But we do have these wrappers in React that make it easier. And the nice thing about the React wrappers, is that they're less verbose. So when you're doing like data source items using the JavaScript library, it's like 3 or 4 lines of JavaScript for each data source item. We've kind of simplified that a little bit with the wrappers, along with all of the options that you can apply to a Reveal view. So with that, let's just jump right into a demo. I'm going to minimize my PowerPoint here. And the first thing that I'm going to show you is what I'm talking about. So if we jump over to the docs, and Brian's going to go into a lot of this in more detail, we've got the Reveal SDK web component wrappers. So they come in 2 flavors. They come in a Angular flavor and a React flavor. And you can see here, why would you use these SDK wrappers? You have enhanced usability, seamless integration with your favorite framework, be it Angular or React. And then these are continuously being improved. They ship like off cycle. These are, maybe an update can happen on Monday and then CI/CD, boom, they're published. Reveal ships every 2 months. So the core Reveal SDK, we ship every 2 months, pretty much like clockwork. So we have 6 releases a year. But these wrappers and then the SDK DOM and the TypeScript DOM, those are CI/CD. So any updates that we do, they get pushed right out. So that means, of course, if you find something wrong or you need a feature, it's much easier for us to add it to these components or even the SDK DOM. So how am I going to integrate with this today? I'm going to use App Builder. I'll get to App Builder in a second. The first thing I want to highlight is my server application. So of course, Reveal is a server and a client. The server is Node, Java, or .NET Core. I have a .NET Core server here all set up and ready to go. This is the simplest server that you could imagine. So first, I have 2 packages installed, the Reveal SDK ASP.NET Core version 1.8, which is our latest version, and then the Reveal SDK DOM, which will give me sort of a view into those dashboard files. I want to pull out the dashboard title, and I'm going to use that in App Builder through a web API. And here in my data source provider, all I'm doing is in my change data source item is I'm looking at the incoming request from the client for the ID, and I'm just doing something very simple. I'm saying, well, the ID is going to be the same name as the Excel file. So just whatever, if I have KPI data, Northwind samples, just show me that particular Excel file. This is all of the real reveal code in this server. That's all that it takes. And then in Program CS, what am I doing? I'm making sure that I'm adding reveal. I've got a couple settings here, like my local file storage path, and I'm adding the data source provider. So injecting that in, making sure that is available. And then the single API that ends up being quite important here is getting the dashboard names. So I want to read the rdash file. So if I slide this over, I'm going into the dashboards folder. So this is my dashboards folder. I have a bunch of rdashes here. Remember, Reveal dashboards are a rdash extension, which is essentially a .zip. And then inside of there is a JSON file. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to read those files. And as I read those files, I want to load the file, the dashboard file, into this rdash document, which is a type in the Reveal DOM. And I'm going to return the dashboard title back to whoever's asking for it. So I'm going to return the file name and the title. And that's really the only API that I need here. So if I run this guy, let's go ahead and hit run. And we'll see my Swagger file. I did enable Swagger here. So let's let this guy start up and get the Swagger up here. Great. There's a bunch of different reveal things here, but here's my dashboard names. Try it out, execute. So you can see I've got my dashboard file name and my dashboard title. And the reason that's important is because the file name and the title can be different. By default, like the first time you save a dashboard, it's the title of your dashboard, but then you might go and edit it later and change it. So that's where this file name and title difference comes into play. So great. I have this. I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm going to need I'm going to need my Swagger file here. So I'm going to right click and copy this because I'm going to use this over in App Builder. So let's go back to my other browser window and let's go to appbuilder.dev. So App Builder is a low-code tool, of course, by Infragistics. It's another part of the company. We have Reveal, we have our UI UX tools, we have Slingshot, and we have App Builder. So App Builder enables development teams to rapidly build applications with a WYSIWYG and then generate production-ready code. That code can be Blazor, React, Angular, Web Component. We don't care. So, but the beautiful thing is anything you design, it will be pixel perfect in your output. So you can control the design, of course, and then you can decide, well, what language do I want this in? Or I don't want this in Angular now. I want it in React. Great. Just get that React code. So if you try App Builder or you click sign in, you end up going to a login page. What I did is I signed in to appbuilder.preview. So this preview has some AI features that are in testing right now, but you can easily grab this URL. It's no big deal. And we might even try some AI today. But what do I want to do first? Let's do a new application. I'm not going to start from scratch with AI. We have sample apps. We have templates, obviously AI, and then you can take anything from Figma and dump it in there. I'm going to go to the templates and I'm going to grab the header plus nav plus content, and we'll get this going in the App Builder WYSIWYG. So you can see here I have this app. I've got my data sources. I've got all of my UI controls in the toolbox. I have all the pages in my app, all of the theming stuff that I can use, images, and then, of course, our conversational AI. What I want to do first is I want to modify a couple of these pages and get them ready for binding to my endpoint and loading in a Reveal dashboard. So on view 1, I'm going to delete this, and you can see that I kind of have this empty container. I'm going to delete that as well. So I'm starting from scratch. I can pick a layout here. So I have a 2-row layout, a side-by-side layout. I can kind of do whatever I want here. So I'm going to just do a up and down sort of layout here. In my top area, I want this height to be maybe 15%. So I'm going to stick a combo box up there, and I might even make it a little bit smaller. How's that look? And then down here, I'm going to stick a reveal dashboard. If I go back to my master view on the menu here, I want this guy to not say view 1. I'm just going to have it say view dashboard, like so. And then for view 2, I want it to say new dashboard. And for view 3, I am going to delete it, and I'm going to delete view 3 from here. So there we go. So I've got view dashboard, edit dashboard. So view 1, what I want to stick up here is a combo box. And in that combo box, I want to bind to the data from my endpoint, from my web API. So first, I'm going to do a control E. Whoops, sorry. I'm going to do a control E, and I am going to select a combo box from my list, and there is a combo box. Let's resize this guy a little bit. You can see we have some default data here. I want to actually bind this to my data. So let's go over to the data tab. Let's click plus. I want to do a REST API. This is going to be called webinar React demo. And let's add that Swagger file that I copied earlier. So there is my swagger.json at http localhost 5111. Save this guy, and let's configure these endpoints. This is going to give me a list of all of the endpoints that are available to me, but I just want this one here, which is going to pull back those dashboard names. Select data. Yes, grab me everything. Click done. So now I have a data source. It's over here in my data tab, but I want to bind it to this combo box. So here on my data tab, let's click home and let's scroll down. There's my webinar React demo. Let's click that, and I want to use the dashboard names endpoint. So I can modify things like the placeholder, maybe get rid of that. For the value key, I can set dashboard file name, dashboard title. So in this case, I'll do a dashboard title. For the display key, I actually want the dashboard title there. And that's basically it. And in fact, no, for my value, I'm going to want to display the file name because that's going to be what is important to the interactions. So what's going to happen when someone selects an item? I want to create a new variable. Let's call it selected dashboard. And I'm going to click create. And what do I want to set that to? The selected item. Click done. I'm good to go. So now if I run this, so I can literally just click the run button. This is an actual running app. And these are the files that we just saw from my Swagger file. So I'm bound to data. I haven't done anything yet. So next I can add my reveal view. So if I do my control E, so what this is it's a shortcut. So if I want to add like a grid or a chart, it just gives me like a little shortcut. But essentially what I'm doing is I'm grabbing items from the toolbox here. So I know here I do have a reveal dashboard. So I can stick this right here and boom, there's my reveal dashboard. But if I go over to my AI, I could say, please add a reveal dashboard to the layout. And I will click generate. And then you'll see here kind of highlighted in purple. And it's saying generating with AI. First add a boom, done. Okay, great. So I didn't really have to think about it. And there is my reveal dashboard. And if I want to modify it or ask follow-ups, the way that we're doing AI, because this is a WYSIWYG, is that each item in the WYSIWYG you can control, again, with follow-ups and whatnot. But let's go to the reveal dashboard, and I need to change some settings here. So what I want to do is I want to use the base URL from my reveal server, which is http localhost, and that's 5111. And my dashboard, it loaded a default sales dashboard. What I want to do is I want to load up the selected dashboard from my interaction in the combo box, which should have been here, but it's not. So let's go back and see what I did wrong. Interactions. Oh, there's a little problem. What did I do? Did I not do this right? Let's just call this selected dashboard. ORD. Create. Done. Okay, I must have missed that last time. So let's go back to design. There we go, selected dashboard. So user error there. But the idea with variables is App Builder supports routing and navigation variables. So variables between pages, variables on interactions with your UI components. So you can have any sort of master detail setup, selects, etc., just like you would write the code. So all of this is built in to App Builder. And that's all I want to do here. So I've got localhost, the selected dashboard from the combo, allow editing, blah, blah, blah. So let's go see how this looks. Let's run this guy. I'm going to scroll and let's look at our manufacturing dashboard. So you can see here is the manufacturing dashboard. If I look at the sales dashboard, go to the overflow, click edit, I can jump in here, maybe change this chart type to a column chart. You can do whatever you want. The editor experience is fully built in, and there you go. It's all done. So with no lines of code, literally none, I've enabled my client to load dashboards dynamically from a Reveal server. So let's go back to edit mode here. Let's go back to our page. Let's go to view 2. And in view 2, I don't really need any fancy layout here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a Reveal view to the view 2. So let's go back to our AI and I'm going to say, can I redo this guy? Yeah, let's refresh it. And it'll just add that same Reveal view here and let it do its thing. Looks like it's going to try to add localhost 5111. Wow, it did do that. That is great. And I don't want a dashboard name, and I want to start in edit mode. So there we go. That's it. I'm done. So I have my dashboard viewer, which will allow me to view dashboards, and I have a dashboard editor, which will allow me to add new visualizations. And we're going to kind of go modify this in code really quick. So let me click edit. I'm back here in my editor. I am going to go to my code generation dropdown. You can see my options here, super easy. I'm going to stick with React. And here I have a publish option. Where do I want to publish this? Why don't we publish this to GitHub? And we're going to call this webinar demo today. And I will create the repository. And let's see. It'll handle this. I've already logged into GitHub through App Builder. We can deploy to GitHub pages as well. And summary, initial version, no problem. Let's publish this guy. And this is actually going to our cloud, generating this React app, and it's published it now to GitHub. So here is my webinar demo today, all here in GitHub. So let's go and grab this. Let's go to Visual Studio Code, Command-Shift-P, Git clone, Control V. Where do we want this to go? We'll go here, and that's good enough. And let it load up, open it up in the window, and boom, here is the app that we just created. So what did this do? So let's go down. First off, drill into app, and you can see here I've got view 1 and view 2. So those are the two views that I asked App Builder to create. I've got my CSS, my tests, and I got view1.tsx. So you can see here, whoops, I've got my options for Reveal View. So this is part of what? This is part of the Reveal SDK wrappers React. So instead of setting properties directly on a Reveal View, we have this options object, which lets you pass it or bind it to a Reveal View. And then that is what properties that component has when it renders. So in this case, I've got copy false, duplicate false, hardly any settings. There's obviously like maybe 30 different properties that you can set on a Reveal View. And then how am I actually going to load up my dashboard into this Reveal View? Well, you'll see here, I've got the selected dashboard, which is going to come from that combo box. If we scroll down into the code here, I've got my RVRevealView bound to what? bound to the options, my Reveal View options, and then bound to the selected dashboard. So this is standard React bindings. This code here is pulling in the theme from App Builder, but I don't need to use that. So I can get rid of this. I don't need to set a theme if I don't want. But what we're doing is App Builder has all kinds of theme settings, and we want to make sure that when you have those themes set on your whole app and App Builder, that it renders correctly. But that's all I'm going to do. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go to terminal. I'm going to do a new terminal, and let me switch this over to command prompt. Let me do an npm install, and that's going to install all my dependencies, and we'll look at those in a second because we're going to modify them a little bit. And then we'll do an npm start, and we'll have the same app that we just saw, which is pretty mind-blowing for writing no code. And we'll do an npm start now. And there we go. Localhost 3003. Let's let the app start up. We can see we have our view dashboard and new dashboard pages, just like we had in Reveal. Oh, and you know what I did here is I changed the theme, or got rid of the theme in view 1. If I go to view 2 TSX, I just noticed that it kind of looked a little bit different, and that of course updated there. So let's go back here, go to view dashboard, go to our list, select manufacturing, and boom, there is our manufacturing dashboard. Select sales. There's our sales dashboard. So exactly what we saw inside of App Builder. Now, if I go to new dashboard plus visualization, there's nothing here. So I want to now add a data source. So remember those options that I mentioned earlier? Well, that's how we can customize Reveal to make sure that you can add new data source items, change properties, etc. As I mentioned, Brian's going to talk a little bit about that too, but let's go ahead and make a couple changes here. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to make sure we're using the right version. Keep in mind, App Builder is a separate product and it's generating code for Reveal. For Reveal, we're actually on version 1.8.0 on the JavaScript library. And if I go to package.json, what you're going to see is the Reveal SDK wrappers, Reveal SDK wrappers React. We're actually on 2.2 here. So let's go ahead and update these dependencies to make sure that everything is right. And now when I go to view 2 is the one where we said, hey, start in edit mode equals true. Now, how do I add a data source to that? Well, in the JavaScript land, you would add a data source item and do all this good stuff. But in the wrappers, you have a data sources collection where you can just add the type, the ID, the title, etc. So I'm just going to copy this guy, and I'm going to go back to view 2, and I am going to paste my Reveal options here. So there we go. And you can see I've got my data sources. There's my type. And what's going to happen is this ID, remember, is going to go over to the server. And then on the data source provider, it's going to say, well, if the ID is Northwind, then give me that northwind.xlsx. And that's basically what I'm going to do. I got rid of my set reveal theme. And if I go back to view 1, no set reveal theme here. So I should be using all of the default themes. I'm selecting my dashboard in view 2. The key to this is start in edit mode. So let's make sure that that is set to true because we do want to start in edit mode in this application. So let's go ahead and make sure everything is saved. And let's npm install again to get those new dependencies installed. And then let's do an npm start. And I want to go over to new dashboard. Remember, start in edit mode plus visualization. There's my northwind.xlsx. The title was Northwind Traders. Click this guy. I can grab whatever I want here, maybe order analysis view. And let's do something like orders by order date, or how about total freight by year? Great. Let's do freight by year. And I'm going to get rid of my legend. I am going to add a fixed line because I want to know the average across all years. And I want to use large number formatting on that value here. So let's go to formatting and I'm going to go to large number formatting, set that to auto. So that looks good to me. I'm going to check the box. There I have my first visualization. I can go click duplicate, go back into edit mode. Let's do something a little more exotic. I always like to do a map. What map do I want to use? Let's do world countries. And for the location field, let's do the employee country. So we'll do the employee country, and I'll get rid of freight, and let's do orders. And let's do for aggregation, let's do a count of distinct rows. Now I've got the orders by employee, and we'll do orders by employee. Check that box. Now I have 2 vises, and we'll just call this freight dashboard. Check the box. Boom. Now that's saved. If I go back to my server, there is going to be in my dashboards folder, freight dashboard, because we automatically save and load from dashboards. Of course, you can override that. If I go to my viewer, I go to my drop down, freight dashboard, click this guy, we are done. So did I write any code? Well, I pasted in some code. I probably did total of 5 minutes of work. I've been talking a lot, but in order to build out a Reveal client using React is as simple as using our SDK wrappers, setting up an options class here for your RevealView options, and then just pointing to the server URL. The rest of this is going to be your standard React code. Super easy to do this. And of course, I did this with App Builder. So I just had a couple settings that I changed and I was done. So with that, let me hand it over to Brian, who's going to spend 5 or 10 minutes talking about how to do this from scratch. So I want to do like npm install in my brand new React app, and you'll be able to get some insight from him too. So Brian, take it away.
Thanks, Jason. Great demo. I love App Builder's no-code approach to developing applications, but you know me, I'm a dev to my core, and so I have to be in the code. And this is where the Reveal SDK web component wrappers really come in handy. They make it super easy for me to start integrating the Reveal SDK into my JavaScript frameworks, such as React, Angular, Vue, or just a standard web component application. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show everyone how easy it is to get started, using these wrappers in your own applications. So I'm on the help documentation site for Reveal. It's help.revealbi.io. I'm going to click on the Web SDK documentation link, scroll on down, and you're going to see this link at the bottom here, this little title. It says Web Component Wrappers. Click on Overview. I just wanted to point out that there's this nice, scary little warning at the top that is saying, hey, this product's in beta. Really, the only reason it's in beta is because we just need your feedback. We need to know if this is meeting your needs. We are lacking some documentation as well. We hope to get better docs out pretty soon, but really we need your feedback. And so to provide feedback, let me just show you real quick. If you go to our Reveal repo, or a Reveal organization, I should say, it's github.com/revealbi, and scroll all down and look for Reveal SDK-wrappers. This is the source code for all of the wrappers for web components, React, and Angular. So if you have any issues, please come here and submit your issues so I can address those. Or if you like, you can actually, fork the repo and submit a PR. Don't twist my arm. I'll take those any day. Anyways, now your next question may be, why create these web component wrappers to begin with? Well, if you've been using Reveal for a while, you probably know that the Reveal SDK on the client is a jQuery-based component. And using jQuery-based components inside of a React or Angular application, it's not the greatest experience. And so we created these new wrappers to provide a more intuitive, developer-friendly way to integrate the Reveal SDK into SPA frameworks like React or Angular. And so that's kind of where these were born. It also gives us a lot of freedom around what we can do around the API, supporting data binding, providing a more intuitive API for setting options, showing and hiding and turning on and off features in the Reveal view itself. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a demo of just how easy this is. Let me go ahead and show you this demo. We're going to be using a React application and the React wrappers. So I'm going to start by first installing the prerequisites for the wrappers. Let me go back to the documentation. I'm going to click on installation. Now, because these are wrapping the jQuery component, we have to bring in the reveal view, the jQuery-based reveal view component, plus its prerequisites. So that's, jQuery, day.js. And then we also need the reveal SDK, right? So I'm just going to copy this, go back to my demo here, and I'm going to paste this into my index.html. I'm loading these from a CDN. You could load these dependencies differently. If you want to do NPM or something like that, feel free, but this is just for my demo purposes. So, I'm bringing in jQuery, I'm bringing in day.js, I'm bringing in the Infragistics SDK here. Next, this is what you do for every Reveal application. You have to set the base URL. In this case, I'm using a sample server, but in your application, you'll be using your own server where you're hosting Reveal. The next step is, okay, I got my prerequisites in. How do I actually add the React component wrapper to my React application? Let's go back to our documentation. I'm going to go click on React. And I can see here, there's this nice NPM package for me. So I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to go into my terminal of my demo, paste, and I'm going to run that. It's only going to take a second. All right, so we've installed the wrappers for React. Let's go ahead and start using the RVRevealView component in React. In React, it's called the RVRevealView. There it is right there. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to come down to my terminal, and I'm going to start my demo. I'm going to go ahead and run this demo here. And here's the demo running. There it is. There's the reveal view. That's how easy it was. I literally have the reveal view running in my application now. Well, it's kind of boring. Not much going on. Let's start doing some stuff with the reveal view component now. The first thing is I probably want a dashboard. Now, I could just hard code it inline here, right? Could do that. There you go. Loads the dashboard. There's the sales dashboard. But this really isn't the React way, is it? Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to create a dashboard variable to hold this. Oh, thank you, Copilot. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a binding to the property instead. Okay, so now that's set. There it is. Same behavior. Behavior didn't change, but now I'm data binding the dashboard property instead. So let's make this a little more interesting. I'm going to add a button. I'll just say click me. And then on the button, let's handle the on click. And let's do something. Let's go set dashboard right there. And I'm going to say marketing. Okay. Now we're setting the dashboard. When I click this button in the top left, I click the button, boom, it changes the marketing. Amazing, right? Very simple, very easy. But let's not stop here because we have some improvements that we made on these wrappers to make it super easy to use. And one of those is we introduced this concept of like an options pattern. And what do I mean by that? Well, let me give you a little history real quick. So if I go back to my docs and I launch my JavaScript APIs here, API documentation, I'm going to look for RevealView. This is the JavaScript component. I'm going to scroll down. I'm just going to see this huge flat list of properties and functions, right? Not very intuitive, can be kind of hard to find sometimes, and you really have to look in our doc to find what you're looking for, okay? Well, instead of doing that, what I'd like to do is just, provide a more structured options class or an options pattern to kind of help drive and make your ability to turn features on and off a little more intuitive. So let's start by creating a const here. I'm going to call it options. It's going to be set options. I should have let Copilot. Oh, there it is. But instead of use state, I'm going to do a strongly typed state. It's going to be the reveal view options, actually. Okay, so reveal view options. And I'm going to have to import this. So I'm going to import. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Copilot. Except it's not in the React. It's actually in the core reveal SDK.wrappers package. Okay, so now I have my options, and I'm going to come in, I'm going to set my options property, and I'm going to bind to our options variable here. So what exactly does the options do? Well, the options allow you to control various aspects of the reveal view and how it behaves. So for example, let's go back to our documentation. Let's go back to our sample here. And let's see, okay, I drop this menu down. I can see I can edit. I can export to different types like images and PowerPoint. When I'm in edit mode, there's, UI here. There's a button for adding visualization. So there's some things in UI that I want to be able to control. So for example, I'm in the options. I can make it, let's say can edit is false. I want to turn off editing. Okay, let's go back. I open my menu. Now you can see the edit option is completely gone. Okay, can't go into edit mode because I set my option to can edit equals false. Well, let's try some other things. How about, let's go to our header. Now the header, header. Okay, our header has some options in here, such as, can add visualization, right? Let's set that to false and see what happens when we do that. Go back here. I can go into edit mode because I removed the can edit equals false option. I can go to edit mode, but now my big button for adding a visualization is gone. Okay. That's because I set can add visualization is false. Other things I can do. What about my menu? My menu in the header. Well, great. What can I do here? What if I turn off exporting to image? Right? That might be kind of cool. Make sure I put my comma there. Now go export. Now my image export option is missing, right? So essentially the options allow you to control the various features and functions of the reveal of the wrapped reveal view, and gives you complete control within the React context of all the data binding expectations that you would have. You could do that. Okay, so what else can we do with the Reveal View React wrapper? Another thing you may consider doing is, what if we want to call a function on the wrapper itself, okay? Well, we need a reference to that. And in React, the way we do that is we say const, I'm going to say RVRef. Oh, there we go again, Copilot, use ref. But in this case, it's not any, it's RVRevealView ref, okay? I'm going to set the component ref equal to our RVRef, and then that gives us access to the component. So now I'm going to say RVRef.current. What can I do? Add text box visualization, add visualization, copy, paste, enter edit mode, exit edit mode. Let's just export to image, right? We'll just bypass that. And because, we're turning it off in the menu, but we still want to provide that capability. So now I'm going to go into my demo. It's running. We can see that our buttons are here. Now I'm going to come to this click me. And what I expect to happen is I expect to see the image export function to invoke, which it did, right? So there we go. I can now export this as an image, just without having to require that end user interaction to do it, to click the menu by going to the menu, export, and clicking on it here. I provided my own button for it. Okay. And so that's essentially how easy it is to use these wrapper components. The native wrappers really give you a really nice developer experience with the IntelliSense, and we'll be providing more documentation and more, TypeScript, VS Code integration tools, documentation sample, things like that. So please give these a try. I really want your feedback. Hit us up in Discord, find me on GitHub. But I really like to know what you think about these. And yeah, can't wait to hear from you. Jason, back to you.
Wow, that was awesome. Thank you, Brian. It's amazing how easy things are. And that was a great demo that really demonstrates, like, you can get going with this stuff, app builder or from scratch, and you're not really writing a ton of code. We're making it easy on you. And then just go to the docs and go to GitHub, and there's tons of samples. So amazing. Thanks for that demo, Brian. Appreciate your time today. You'll notice the poll popped up, so please answer the poll. All of your feedback helps us make decisions in the product. And to sort of wrap this up and bring it home, if you want to try Reveal, go to revealbi.io, sign up for a demo. Shoot sales an email, sales@revealbi.io. Of course, Jason B. or B. Lagunas, email Brian or I, and we would love to chat with you about your digital transformation, your self-service BI aspirations to have an embedded experience in your product. We are the only product in the market that does what we do as a pure embed play on the client and on the server. And you can see to get started is super, super easy. So with that, I want to thank everyone for your time today. We really appreciate it. We know you have a lot of pulls on your time, and we will see you at the next webinar next month. Thanks again.